Hola, hello, I am Pepe the King Prono Guy.
Oh, that's so f***ing cool. And that's how we completely destroy a powerboard on a Leader 120. Nice.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the Eachine QX65 that just came in yesterday, technically speaking, from when I'm recording the audio of this. But this one I purchased with a FR Sky on it. Now, I'm looking at this specifically for the newer folks who want to try a whoop style quad, and don't want to go through a build your own. Some of the soldering on those little guys is pretty small. So the reason why I'm looking at this one is I do already have a King Kong Tiny 7, which is great, and it came in a package. But this one comes in package choices where you get everything you need to have a whoop. And if you're willing, right now, $43 for Fly Skies. Radios from $43 to $46. Look in the text below and you'll see some links to those, and you can have a full package. This is $86 for everything you need. So with that radio you're looking at $130 and you're ready to go, and you can use that radio later on any other models you get that are larger. Now, this one I got the advanced package because that's what I'm looking at for you guys. So it has lots of things in it, and let's look at those things that come with it, and let's look at what actually comes on the quad itself. Now, this quad is a 65 motor-to-motor millimeter quad. It is running Betaflight 3.2.2. It is an F3 flight controller with built-in OSD. It supports acro, angle, and air modes. It comes with LEDs. It also comes with a camera VTX built in, a 4-in-1. It also is running 615 coreless motors, and it has ABS made frames, and it is a 700 TVL camera at 130 degrees. Which is good. Now, the package differences here, you're seeing my little package, comes with 6 batteries, 2 frames, 2 bodies, 2 camera mounts, screwdriver, prop popper, and 2 sets of props, and a really nice instruction sheet, which I'm about to show you, which is one of the nicest instruction sheets I've seen. It even goes into showing you beta flights and everything else as we go through what we got here. Actually, we get 2 chargers. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to this, is you get this little USB charger you can plug in with the, and that comes with the basic package. But in the advanced package, you get this monster charger that can charge all 6, and you'll see better shots of that here in a second, with a display and everything. So let's talk about the differences in packages. So the basic package is just a little quad, a set of props, I believe, that are on it, and 1 battery and a little USB charger, and a prop popper and screwdriver. The standard one is going to come with 2 sets of props, just the 1 cover. It's also going to come with 3 batteries and the little USB charger. And in the big kit, like I said, I'm getting 6 batteries, 2 extra covers, prop popper, screwdriver, 2 extra sets of props, and 2 extra bodies, which is awesome in that kit. Now, everything you need to know is clearly, shockingly enough, in these instructions, right down to Betaflight on what switches everything is on. Now, I found a few things, so you know, going into Betaflight weird. It has an RSS turned on. I'm not sure why, because I'm not getting any RSS feed, and it doesn't say anything about having RSS feed, so you might want to shut that off. When I'm flying it, I'm going to show you bone stock. I didn't do anything to it. I left all the switches where they were and bound it to my my Tyrannus QX7. Binding is easy, but you do have to pop the top off in order to do it. The bind button is inside, but the manual clearly shows you how to do that, and it is super easy to bind. I these are problematic, these ones, because the USB is directly plugged in the bottom. So if you want to calibrate your gyros, it's kind of difficult. Sometimes I just suggest taking a piece of cardboard, cutting a slice and then a hole out in the middle, so you can basically sit that USB right up through the middle and then balance that cardboard on something flat so you can get as level as you want, and then you can go and do gyro leveling, field gyro leveling. If you're not sure how to do that, Joshua Bardwell has a video on how to field calibrate your gyro. So something to check out. Now on this charger, as you can see, it's really sweet. Holds 6. Green light on means that we're charging. When the green lights go out, you're set. Now, what's cool is it does show you every one of these 6 channels and what each battery is on. Oh, I did forget to mention that all these batteries that come with all these different packages are HV batteries. So that's pretty nice too, that you're getting high voltage batteries with these. It can take either off a Lipo, it can take a charging wire that maybe you have for something else that will work, but I was showing you my Taranis charger cable. Um, and it will also have a USB slot in it as well. Now, when you set these up, I'm showing you binding. Sorry, real quickly, let's look at binding. So the bind button is right there under the hood, as I mentioned. There's a back screw. I just loosened the 2 side screws, rotated it out of my way. Hold that bind button, have your binding on your transmitter, and plug in the USB, and it is capable of binding via USB and not having to fiddle with a battery, which is a lot easier of a process to me than trying to hold a button and plug a battery and kind of run out of hands. Now, looking back at the charger, as I was mentioning, there's a little switch, as you can see there on the sides of each one of those. Now, mine came in with the switch engaged to a regular 3.4 battery and not a HV battery, so you need to flip each switch forward of the charger itself in order to get that into the HV charging mode, which is not a problem. So one little con I found in it, some of the batteries do not fit super tight into that. You can see that kind of flopping around. I didn't have any eject, but it is pretty loose. So it was one of the things that I didn't think was the greatest. But that's no big deal. You can buffer that out with some sort of wedge. So looking at the first flight, this particular flight starts out okay. One of the things I noticed is comparatively to all my other cameras, I had to adjust the settings in my goggles because it was really bright. It looked like what you're seeing through my VTX in my goggles to start with. Now you can adjust your goggles to handle that, but as far as your DVR output, you're you're kind of stuck with what it is. So mine's really bright. I watched just to see if it was maybe a one-off issue. I did watch some other videos, and those guys didn't seem to have the same issue with their camera. So the footage you're going to record now, if you're going to record it and post it anywhere, you can fix this very easily in post. It's not so far gone that you can't use your software to get color back, but extremely sunny day in the house, and it did affect the footage. So I'm just gonna buzz around here a little bit. I had, this is first 3 batteries. Unfortunately, I had 2 nice, beautiful full battery runs and looked up and I hadn't turned on my recording. So, but it flies really nice. Once I had got everything balanced out and did a little, field gyro balance there, everything was working really good. It flies nice. Everything is pretty well done. Now, if you can see there, I shouldn't be having these dropouts in my VTX that I was having. I'm not that far away, and I certainly shouldn't have it with my antennas. So what I did post this flight is fix some things I'll show you that went wrong that are causing a little bit of issue in the flying. And I changed channels on my VTX, and that seemed to fix things. And there's one or two reasons. Either, a wire was loose, and when I changed the channel, I reseated the plug itself, or just changing frequencies helped me with all the other electronics and stuff I've got running in this house. So as you can see, we're just bebopping around. I'm kind of getting the feel of it. I was flying bigger quads over the weekend, so really at quad camp, not whoops. Uh, another interesting thing, I wouldn't call it a flaw. The chassis themselves are pretty flexible. Um, but they're not so flexible that they can't be handled with a crossing support, which I'll show you, that you can either print or buy for very little. Um, but it flies really nice, and especially once I show you what I needed to do to resolve an issue. Here, so we'll just wrap this flight up, and you'll see some things suddenly seem to tragically go wrong. But yeah, the brightness of this was brutal to watch here on recording. Again, I had adjusted my goggles and had no issue. And once it became nighttime, it was better. So as you can see there, I'm just randomly falling out of the sky and struggling to get it up and struggling to get it to do anything, and wondering what. And then I was wondering what was going on, so I just set it down and went to take a look, and here's what I found. One tiny little thing too, and it's not a huge deal, but I noticed the batteries don't snap in necessarily easily, and the far side was a little hard to get in. So after picking it up, I found, and I noticed this when I was calibrating it, and I didn't know if it was going to continue to happen. So what I found was these motors in this frame are coming out pretty easy, like they should not do. 3 out of 4 did start coming out, so I'm not quite sure why. Again, this isn't a problem I heard about from anyone, unless they just flat out didn't tell you that this is a problem with this one. But it is a problem. And any problem can be fixed. Granted, you shouldn't be getting something and have to fix it for them. So if Eachine ever looks, this is an old model, I know, but you know, future models maybe pay attention to this, which is surprising because it seems that somebody's flown this thing, or tested it for sure, because it was labeled in Betaflight, and all kinds of settings made that had to be done by hand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little hot glue, and I'm going to apply some to it and try to hold these motors in place with that. And I'm also going to use a cross member. Cross member. It's an X support that you can either purchase on Banggood. I'll show you. I'll put a link down there, or you can print it yourself if you have a printer. I do. I'm going to go ahead and do it. But otherwise, there's not a whole lot otherwise bad with it as far as an entry level. Again, this is for those entry level type things, or just a goof around for a price that's cheaper than building a whoop and having to buy possibly a whole new radio to do an actual whoop. So there's other options out there if you don't want this, but again, I thought the full package is nice and convenient. The only bummer is it didn't come in its own box. That's the one thing that the King Kong Tiny 7 did come with, was a plastic box to carry it in, but that's, a couple few more dollars. Geez, you can get that at the grocery store to put everything in. So, like I said, we're going to put that cross member in there. So let's go ahead and print that out here, and I'll show you what that looks like once I get it on and once I get it glued up, and then we'll take a look at how it flies afterwards. So we're just going to bang this out on the old Monoprice Mini. Once again, I'll put a link up in the right on that. Right now, Hobby King has a sale going on where basically the exact same printer as that is $168, so I'll link that. So this is what this piece does. It goes in, and I'll put a link to this piece in there. Also, in case you need to do it or anybody who stumbles on this is looking for a solution for that. But basically, skipping past me fumbling with it, um, we'll put that on, and you want to go under these wires and don't like try to slide it down on top of the wires, because this bracket fits, even the one you buy, because it fits pretty tight. So if you slide that down across those motor wires, you are going to strip the coating, the covering of the wire off, the silicone or whatever it may be, I forget. You're going to strip that right off the wire and end up with bare wires, which you do not want to do. So just kind of take the rubber bands off and slip under there, and then we glue them on. And with our hot glue gun, I glued that in place, and it keeps it nice and rigid and nice and stiff, and kind of holds on to the motors a little bit better. So let's take a look now and see how she flies. So overall, I was pretty pleased with this. I think it's worth $86 to get everything you get with the charger, the HV batteries, and your maybe first or second little tiny whoop style craft. Once I made the few adjustments I made in stiffening the chassis and everything up, it flew strong, and I think, as you can see, it is rock solid stable inside the house. And definitely right now, as I mentioned and look in the intro text below, you can also bundle this up when you're buying and get yourself a FlySky radio from anywhere from $43 to $46. Even the i6X is only $46 right now, which is really great. And those radios will take you far into the future of other models. As I mentioned, you'll be able to run your 5-inchers and stuff with that. Almost every model that comes out you can get with FlySky or put your own receiver on. And same goes with Tyrannus. The QX7, although not 40 something dollars, it's 107. I mean, that's a radio right there you're going to get, and you're going to be able to use for several years. And every single model comes out on FR Sky, and usually it's the cheapest, believe it or not, when you're going to buy a bind and fly. Half the time the FR Sky version is cheaper, and the receivers are dirt cheap. You can get an XM Plus for $12. It's definitely a great radio, and if you think about it, the money you're going to save down the road from being able to save on buying models with FR Sky being cheaper is probably worth a little bit more on the radio. Now, the only downside to the QX7 I've found out recently is if you plan in the future at all to run Crossfire, which is a stronger signal and considered a better receiver setup, it doesn't work in the QX7 right out of the box. You have to do some mods to it. So in that case, you want to do, I think it's X9D or X9D Plus, which is a little bit more, but then you're seriously not going to need a radio for a long time. If you're thinking about those Horuses and stuff, I mean, think hard about it. You don't need to spend $500 on a radio. There's more on those radios set up for planes and landing gears and stuff that we'll never use in quadcopters. So anyways, keep that in mind. Once again, I'll put all the links in the description of the model, the cross, the Thingiverse file if you want to print your own. I'll put a link in there for the printer like mine at Hobby King that you can get right now in the warehouse sale, and anything else that revolves. So as always, thanks for joining me. Please remember to subscribe if you're not subscribed. Set the bell so you get my alerts. Tell your friends, tell your buddies, do Twitter, do Facebook. Jump on Stu's Discord and tell people on Discord. Anywhere and everywhere you can tell everybody and promote this channel is going to be good for all of us in the end, because as I mentioned, almost everything I mess with, I give away. So keep your eyes up for the giveaways. Like I said, within the next couple days, I'm going to be announcing the giveaways. Unfortunately, all of a sudden everything started to come in that I'm reviewing, so getting time to slip in and put together that little video of our Whoop style DIY project that I'm going to give away for April is just taking me a little bit to do, but the details are coming soon. So once again, everybody, thanks for watch me annoy the animals here for the last little bit, and talk to you soon.